In case you don't know, my name is Tony Cameron and I'm with TLDR Accounting. We help small business owners, therapists, coaches, uh, non-for-profits, individuals with tax and accounting services. So things like getting your taxes done on time, hint, hint, nod, nod, wink, wink, our topic this morning, or making sure your monthly bookkeeping is getting done, along with things like calculating federal estimated taxes. So this week, filing your taxes on time and what happens when you don't. So Tuesday, October 15th, filing deadline. It was the extended deadline. So normally they're due April 15th, but if you filed an extension, you have until October 15th. Now, day before the deadline, it's counting down. What happens if you realize you can't file or you don't have all the information to file on time? So we'll cover a little bit about what happens if you don't file. Now, I never ever recommend you don't file. A lot of times it comes up in context of, well, I don't have the money to pay my taxes, so I shouldn't file my tax return. Nope, full stop. Do not not file just because you can't pay your tax bill. There are two different types of penalties with your taxes. One is a late filing penalty, which means you're not filing on time, and the other is a late payment penalty. Now, the one we're talking about today is the late filing penalty. So if you don't file your taxes on time, for every month or part of a month after the deadline, you will owe a 5% penalty of your taxes owed. Let that sink in. A 5% penalty of what you owe. Depending on how much you owe, that can scale really quickly. There is a cap up to 25% of your taxes owed. So if it's already past that time and you're at the maximum, don't really need a rush to pay it, except for that pesky interest, which will get charged on what you owe. If you noticed the fine point there, it's 5% of your taxes owed. So what if you don't owe any taxes and you're getting a refund? Well, then you're not going to get hit with a late filing penalty. So it's kind of a get out of jail free card if the government owes you money. And that has come up with us with clients in the past where they're getting a giant refund. There's a couple of things we would really appreciate some clarification on just to make sure the return is complete as possible. And we explain the situation. We're going to get it out a little late. They will not get hit with a late filing penalty. They'll get the refund a little bit later, but it all works out. Now, if you're panicking because it's the 15th and you owe money to the IRS and you're nervous about filing, at the very least, we should file your tax return. Then we can get you on a payment plan to pay off your taxes owed. We can deep dive into, is everything being recorded correctly? Did you forget to give us some documents? But no matter what, you should be filing your taxes on time if possible. You want to reduce that penalty to zero if available. Like, you do not want to pay the government extra money. Like, no one does. It's bad news bears. But yeah, takeaway, file your taxes on time, even if you can't afford to pay your taxes. There are some fantastic programs to get on a payment plan with the IRS that is affordable, along with getting on top of your taxes for the next year or so. You can get caught up. Sticking your head in the sand and ignoring it does not work. All right. There's my rant about filing on time. So you're probably wondering, based on everything I told you and about how I'm very making sure you file on time, what is deadline day like for us? So step one, I try really, really hard to make sure nothing comes up to deadline day. The sooner we can get something out, the better. We do take on some additional clients who've extended their own returns, and so they're probably coming up on deadline day. If possible, we try to get everything to clients 2 weeks before the deadline. They have plenty of time to review the returns. That way, deadline day isn't an anxiety-induced mess. Now, Other times we have people coming up on deadline day. We need some 8879s. 8879s are the form you need to sign for us to be able to e-file your tax return. And we e-file 99% of all of our tax returns. So we wait for those to come through and we send them via DocuSign. So I won't lie, I spend a lot of time refreshing. Did we get that signature back? And so does Heather. She spends time refreshing. Did we get that 8879 back? Have we heard back from this client? And so it can be a very emotionally draining day for us at the office as we're watching the clock tick closer and closer to midnight, trying to make sure that none of our clients are going to get hit with that penalty that today's topic is all about. Hopefully you all found this helpful and you understand a little bit better about why you should file on time. And on our end, how we're on deadline day, things are frantic. If it doesn't involve a tax return that's going to be happening or filing that day, it gets put off to the rest of the week. So now we're playing a little bit of catch up, but it's all good.